different dimensions like that.
Dude, that was a good luck.
Materializing shit.
So I kind of realized that I don't know. So I don't know if any of that was muted because we're trying something new here, and yeah, we're kind of learning as we go. Chase's drink is disappearing, and it sounds like his laptop is on fire. So please excuse the background sound.
And apparently, my video, if I turn HDR actually washes everything out.
Apparently I'm delay.
Oh my god.
Second here.
Oh, apparently I'm on delay. So give me a second here.
Oh, there's an echo.
Where's that coming from? Hello. All right. Hopefully, everything looks good to me. I can't tell if you guys can see the echo or delay.
There's a bit of an echo feed.
Did that take care of the whirring noise?
Yeah, what was that?
It was my laptop put on my headset with the mic.
I like that you're just like floating though. You're just
I'm trying to get situated for this bullshit.
Oh, apparently everyone else has an echo. Let's see. All right, what about this? Why don't you guys test talking real quick?
Okay, I'll just test us for a second here. See if somebody in chat let me know if I'm echoing or if it's just Josh.
I think we figured it out. Apparently, I might have been broadcasting everybody's sound at the same time. At least that's what I'm seeing. If you guys would be so kind to let me know if everything looks better now. Anyways, this is us trying to increase our production value, and apparently we might have taken a step backwards here. Mark is very low, so I can fix that.
You know, the funny part is we actually spent time and tested this all out yesterday and made sure everything worked, and then obviously you wait, you go live, and it just all blows up.
See, that's why we shouldn't prep.
Yeah, we shouldn't have prepped. Just figure it out on the fly. Would have been much better.
All right, is that echoing again now? If that's the case, then we might have to axe this and just pop on Discord. Give it another couple seconds. Yep, 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Thank you, Steve.
Well, this is really now even happening to YouTube.
All right, it still echoes. All right, screw it. We're gonna hop. Let's get the fuck off this and hop on Discord. Closing this out. I'm gonna go the tried and true route here. Hold, please.
The backgrounds were solid. I was liking that, and damn, then it died.
Well, we tried, but apparently this works out much better. Caleb did look really comfortable at Keeneland. Now we see the stark reality that is Chase. On top of that, the sound quality went up like 10 times, so that was a failed experiment. Oh well, we tried. Anyways, we are on the wrong lead. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna take a look at. We're gonna go ahead and take a look at some BC stuff here. Maybe get a couple predictions out the way. And we were gonna talk some weekend stuff, but I don't know if there's anything going on this weekend. Um, I don't know.
Belmont has a pretty solid, Naira Stakes day, but it's New York bred, so you're getting what you're getting, and the feature is pretty interesting with Mr. Buff and Funny Guy both showing up. So obviously they're both carded on the BCs, so I would assume neither one of them is planning on actually running in Breeders' Cup races. I think they were both in the Dirt Mile. But beyond that, Keeneland doesn't even have a stakes on Saturday, but some really nice high end allowance races and some nice maiden specials that look playable. I don't know about the West Coast. I don't know, Caleb, you taking a look?
It's closing weekend at Santa Anita, and I do know that they have a couple stakes. I haven't really looked at them yet. I think they have a decent turf race. It's California turf stakes, so you got to take it for what it is. But I think it's not too bad. I'll be definitely looking at Santa Anita this weekend anyway, as well as maybe Keeneland and Belmont. I'll probably just see which I like the best and focus there.
Yeah, I'll probably be BCBC qualifying or trying to again, so I'm going to be stuck capping 4 tracks, of one of which I'm actually interested in.
Chase, Belmont.
Yeah, Belmont exists.
That's it.
I'm not sure what else you want me to add to that.
Well, I don't know. You do.
There are races where horses will be going in circles and or semicircles, some on dirt, some on turf. The majority of the horses will be born in New York State. The end.
Are you gonna bet Mr. Buff again?
I like Seafoam. I think I hit Seafoam against Mr. Buff or whatever Seafoam's last win was. I hit that horse. I'm kind of a fan there. I might try to get around Mr. Buff. I'm not sure if Mr. Buff is great, but he also might just kind of lay over New York bred fields.
There was another. Who's the other big horse in that, Mark? There was a horse that you really
Funny Guy.
Funny Guy.
Yeah, Funny Guy was the homebred that we sold.
Bankit also.
Yeah, Bankett's in there too. Yeah, and honestly, I like Chase was talking Seafoam. I don't think it's not a deep race. I think there's 6 or 7 that are carded on there. But it's one of those very competitive price, and I think of the prices, Seafoam's the one that's the most logical there.
John Massey says he's waiting for Caleb's opinions on the big day at Laurel, since he knows you're all over that Mid-Atlantic racing.
Oh yeah, I spent all night handicapping. Maryland, Thousands Day.
Millions, is that what it is?
It shouldn't be.
Why do they call it Millions Day? Is that like all the purses combined for the entire meet add up to $1 million, and they just needed a day to name it after?
Well, Maryland Thousands doesn't sound nearly as good.
Because there's millions of people that live in Maryland. Maybe.
Are there that many people in Maryland? There gotta be.
Dude, there's got to be at least like 2-3 million people in Baltimore alone. Come on, give me a break.
Okay. Yeah.
In Baltimore? No.
Hold on a second. Let's
Look
do a
at
quick little
Google it. Google it.
Quick little Google.
Google
here.
has Baltimore has less than 1 million people. And we're not talking all of fucking PG County.
Holy shit, 602,000? Really? I thought Baltimore was bigger.
How many again?
Less than 1 million. Wow.
Oh, that's a flapjack of a fucking population total. Don't out geography or population me. It won't happen, man. I told you. You know how much of The Wire I watched, and you fucking stepped to me with that how many people live in Baltimore bullshit? Get the fuck out of here, Josh.
They have 6 million people in the entire state, at least. So I'll take half credit. Chase says no. All right. But anyways, we were gonna go ahead and take a look at some of these BC races. I know we got pre-entries up. I've taken a look through most of Friday, and I see a couple of big names in here. I'm a little curious on some of these entries. We'll see what actually ends up happening, because I don't know, Caleb, if you've looked at any of this on Friday, but it looks like there's a couple of horses I think entered in the in the Phillies turf and the regular turf that I think would have probably been better served to actually do in the turf sprint. Is there really that much of a difference in prize pool there?
Yeah, I haven't looked at it too much. I typically try to avoid getting too into the PPs on the races I expect to have a lot of European shippers. And I think the turf races are the ones, especially like juvenile, Phillies turf or the mile or the Breeders' Cup turf, gets a lot of Euros. And without knowing which players are for sure showing up, we had like 3 defections just this past week alone of some pretty major players. I don't get too in the weeds. But yeah, if you have a 2-year-old filly, that handles the grass, you definitely want to put her in the Phillies turf as opposed to the sprint. Just prize money, prestige. Trying to look toward that 3-year-old season. Getting them ready for ideally they're probably hoping this horse can take to the dirt and go be a Kentucky Oaks contender. But yeah, I mean, I really think that there's a lot more prestige in winning the juvenile Phillies turf or the juvenile turf. In fact, that juvenile turf sprint is pretty new. I think that's only been introduced in the past 3 or 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. So it doesn't surprise me to see some of the entries where they are. But who are you thinking of in particular?
Campanelle specifically, and she is entered in the or is it he? No, she. Yeah, she's entered in the Philly turf. And you would have thought that they would have tried her sprinting. I mean, she's done all her best work sprinting. Won the Queen Mary and won the that was it the I don't know the Prix Morny. How you pronounce that, Mark? You're the French
No,
the
you're
French
good. You're
expert.
good. Bernie.
Yeah. So, just kind of curious that Wesley is entering her in the turf, but I guess stretching a young horse like that out to a mile, if she's much the best, probably not that big of an ask going from 6 furlongs to a mile.
Yeah, I mean, it is double the purse jumping into the regular turf, and it's only a mile. So if it was a mile and an eighth or something, yeah, then it would be a different story. But you're talking a mile. It's a long, elongated sprint, and I think I think she's got the kind of pedigree where she can probably stretch out and get it. She's much the best, you sort of see these, you know, do you really want a miler specialist as a 2-year-old here? I don't really know. I don't know if they've really developed at that point yet. So I think she's super interesting in there. But I will say, kind of one of these I talked about doing predictions here, and I think one of those things you get into the Breeders' Cup, especially on the Friday card, is that there's a lot of turf races, and you always think, oh, turf races. There's all these Euros shipping over. This is going to be a Euro dominated day. If you look back historically over the past about 10 years, the Euros have not dominated on Friday. It actually tends to be the American horses that tend to do better in the 2-year-old ranks. Euros do obviously very well when you get to the older horses on Saturday, but the 2-year-old, the younger, it tends to be a U.S. dominated thing. So I would think Campanelle is got a real, I'm going to she's technically an Irish horse. I don't know if you really call her a shipper or not, but I would look for some of the those more interesting U.S. based horses that are hopping into this.
All of a sudden,
Yeah,
I have a really strong desire for a pita with lamb shawarma type food, with the way you kept on saying Euro over and over again.
yeah. The thing I probably would say about Campanelle is if you can get 6 furlongs at Deauville or typically almost any European track, you can get a mile in the States. The tracks there, the courses there are typically much more demanding. They're not flat usually for the first part. They have hills. That was run over a soft course, which guaranteed would have been taken off the turf had it been run in the States. So yeah, for this horse to win over there, I think I'm not worried about the distance. I mean, that's a horse I'm definitely going to use. And also, Wesley Ward has quite a number of very strong contenders in the juvenile turf sprint. Golden Pal is a huge standout in that race.
I thought you were
So
gonna drain the 401k on that horse. You've been
uh,
talking about that horse for months.
I've gone Golden Pal since before her debut, which she actually lost that day, unfortunately. But nevertheless, yeah, I mean, he has some really nice sprinters, and I think this is just a more logical spot here.
Here's the thought: not using Lasix on 2-year-olds maybe lends itself more to Euro shippers that are shipping over this year. That's gonna if there's other than maybe just who's gonna show up, who's not gonna show up due to COVID and who's locked down and everything. The only thing that I can think that has changed between this year and previous years is the regulations with medications for 2-year-olds. So maybe that evens the playing field. You don't have a bunch of Euros that are all chomping at the bit, jittery on their first dose of Lasix. Maybe that makes people like Aiden O'Brien way less effective with some of these horses that he brings over. I think that could really lead to you seeing more European shippers being successful in 2-year-old races. If there's anything I can think of that on Friday that might be kind of interesting to watch.
Is that a new thing? No Lasix on Friday?
Is this the first year of that? And honest, it's an honest question. I'm not sure. I was thinking that it had been in for
Um,
a couple years, but you very well may be right. I know they tried to do it a couple years ago, and I couldn't remember if it ever ended up happening or it got canceled.
I mean, I can't speak to the Breeders' Cup Friday specifically, but I know this is the first year that most tracks across the board don't allow 2-year-olds to run with Lasix. And I'm assuming that's why it is the way it is here. I don't think there was any specific Breeders' Cup provision for Lasix on Friday in the past, but that could.
I mean, I know New York's not running anybody with Lasix. Kentucky's not running anybody with Lasix. I, you know, just a random thought I had because I'm not going to sit here and try to handicap a race that has 38 probable entries in it, and they're all 2-year-olds. So that was just my quick thought.
Yeah, I just was looking at it real quick. They tried it in 2012 and 2013. It did not work out. They went back to having Lasix, and now they're going back to no Lasix again. So a little bit of right all the way around here.
Because if I'm wrong in European racing, I'm not sure if I'm wrong, but I believe I remember hearing this. Like with European racing, if they put a horse, they don't put horses on Lasix just cause. Like they put
They
horses
can't.
on Lasix if they bleed.
No,
Like
they can't. They can't. Lasix is illegal in Europe. You cannot use it. Also in the Middle East, and that's why you see horses like Maximum Security when he's shipped to Dubai. They don't run them on Lasix. They cannot run on Lasix. Period. End of sentence. It
Evil
is a
Bob Dole
scad.
says that it's only on race day that it's no that you can't use it.
Okay.
and it's only for horses that have bled before.
My
I just remember that's what I remember reading.
No. I'll take it as right because obviously I was not wrong on that. I get apparently so it is just not as a race day med then. Okay.
That's what Evil Bob
That's a
Dole
good point
says.
of clarification. Yeah.
Yeah, I should clarify that then because my understanding was it was straight banned, but it must be straight banned as a race day. So I wonder what the hold period is prior.
I didn't know that either. I learned something there.
Yeah, EBG putting on the knowledge here.
Oh, now he says I believe, which is never a good follow up to such a statement like that. I'll let Evil Bob Dole do a little googling on that one. But anyways, I didn't want to spend too much time on Friday because I know Friday is always very very chaotic. But anything that stands out for you guys on Friday? Anything? I know we
Yeah.
just got these today, so.
The one horse that I'm super interested to see run back, and I know probably Tommy, I don't imagine he's watching, but he's very probably interested in see the horse run back, is Dirty Dangle in the sprint. Horse was really, really impressive at Woodbine. Came from, off the pace in the Caress, with the Caress B, I think they call it, past other horses and just drew away easily on a turf course that tends to be pretty speed favoring. So coming from off the pace was quite impressive. I think it's a horse that's got a lot of tactical speed. The horse has every right to move forward, and obviously they moved that one onto turf, and that one just really romped. It was very impressive. I also with the Buyer Spigs come back. I'm looking at Briz right now, but that's a horse that I'm super interested in seeing, and probably is a horse due to connections that gets a little lost on the board. It's one of those I would imagine I can probably get 6 or 8 to 1 kind of range on. So that's one that I found super interesting in the sprint.
I'm actually pretty excited to bet against this stupid Steed
Yeah.
Anderson horse. In the last race, that's probably the big thing that I'm looking for is Jackie's Warrior. I hope this horse takes a ton of money. This is probably the horse I'm gonna try and beat. Um, I I mean, if you look at this race, there is just so many. I mean, and this happens all the time in these 2-year-old stakes races where you have all of these horses that absolutely need the lead in order to win and have nothing but ones in their PPs. And I think Jackie's Warrior is going to be a favorite in this race and is going to be one of those horses uh, one of those horses that's going to be all ones. Now, I mean, the horse might run off the screen, but yeah, I think this is going to be a horse that I'm going to try and definitely beat. I think that's probably going to be like my big upset here because probably going to be one of the shorter prices on the Friday card. So
I mean, he's probably going to be 3 to 5, and that's probably fair, given that his biggest competition in this race is probably a horse he's already beaten by half a dozen lengths
Twice.
twice. So I have a little bit of PTSD from last year with Dennis's Moment and that Baffert fraud, 8
8 rings.
rings. Yeah. So like it looks like just two dominant horses, and like, well, we all saw what happened there. So Jackie's Warrior is so much the best here, but I'm just very gun shy to trust these 2-year-olds. Granted, he's probably a little more proven. He does have 4 wins. And hasn't really been tested, but yeah, I guess to kind of piggyback off what you were saying, that's one of the races I'm most excited to see. I want no part of Jackie's Warrior in the Kentucky Derby. I don't think he has any chance of doing a mile and a quarter. But I do think that coming to Keeneland and doing this, 2 turns for the first time at a mile and a 16th, I think that's probably a distance he can manage. I don't think I'd want him going a mile and an eighth, and definitely not any farther. So I'm just kind of curious to watch to see how far he's going to be able to carry that speed, because he's been a really, really good 2-year-old. And he's just a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, so the one other horse that I'd forgotten to mention was Fluffy Socks, who's in the Phillies turf, the mile. That's one that I think we were talking about all these sort of speedballs stretching out is actually proven at the distance. Broke its maiden in Kentucky Downs, won the Selma B at Pimlico, and a horse that it seems to have been getting a little bit better every start, and might get a little lost on the board in that race where there's a lot of flashy sort of speed.
Was there
I mean,
anything
the
you?
connections probably don't help get lost on the board being a Chad Brown horse, but
There we go. Yeah, I was like, I don't remember what race numbers these are all in these PPs, so I was like scrolling through. Was there anything that you liked in particular in this chase on Friday?
I really didn't. I kind of thought it was pointless to just drill down into looking for things. I'm not really excited about any of these particular 2-year-olds. There's none of them that really kind of that kind of I've been excited about seeing run back, other than maybe some of the Clement horses that run at Saratoga. Like I kind of want to see like a Golden Pal run back, which if some of those other Clement entries make it, he's got 2 or 3 pretty good ones in that race. Uh, you know, when it comes to Breeders' Cup weekend hot takes, I had more of a just like a overarching weekend hot take, but I'm afraid that the New York Times and Modern Science and Chemistry might have fucking scooped me on it at
A
about
date.
6 p.m.
I was gonna say there's not any maybe Bob Baffert horses like Princess Noor or anybody that you like on that first day.
No, my bold prediction is that Bob Baffert is not going to win a single race BC weekend, and it's going to that includes the classic where he's going to have 3 entries, with authentic, improbable, and max security. Gamine, I mean, who knows if Gamine even runs now? You know, I looked at it, and was it Bob Baffert is like 13%, career in Breeders' Cup races, and I think it's because they have different drug testing rules, don't they? Aren't they a little bit more strict than everywhere
Yeah,
else?
you have a quarantine barn with here, so they're put on quarantine hold with sort of enhanced security. I have a feeling sometime this week, Gamine is going to have a random sesamoid fracture and be retired. I'll almost put money on that one.
Yeah, no, that's I 100% agree, and it's just I'm tired of it, and I want them to ban him for a fucking year. Just get rid of him.
But,
Get rid of him.
it would be good for the sport.
Yeah, just
Really,
pull his horses out of the Breeders' Cup. The
agreed.
positive
Yeah,
test happened in Kentucky, whatever. And also,
because
I was really excited to bet against Gamine again because I mean it's the horse is actually going to be facing legitimate speed again, and once again isn't going to have it its own way, and people were probably still going to pour money at it. But yeah, I want to say that there's probably going to be just prices all over the place because all of these Baffert horses are going to fucking run absolutely flat.
Yeah, I was to say my big prediction actually plays into something that Chase had said earlier, and very much backs that up, which is I think you're going to see some of the better Euro quality fields that you've probably ever seen in the Breeders' Cup. There's a lot of the European meets that were shortened, and a lot of races that. Due to travel restrictions and other things like that, a lot of the big players couldn't attend. So you're actually seeing horses that it's easier to fly to the United States than it is to travel domestically in Europe for them. I think you're going to see just absolutely loaded for bear Euros, and I think that your Euro contingent is going to be stronger this year than it has been in the past few years. And I think overall quality of this British Cup probably is better because of it, with all of the Europeans coming in. I mean, you're talking some. It always seems like what happens is the top tier European talent doesn't come over unless they're Aiden O'Brien or some of the bigger names, and then sort of the tier 2 and tier 3 that can come over and get on Lasix come over that may need it. This year, you're seeing obviously there's been a couple defections already. I realize that, but I think you're seeing some of the top tier European talent that's looking at coming over. Nobody is ducking and playing the we're not going to ship game.
Yeah, I was pretty. The Breeders' Cup turf was shaping up to be probably the race of the year if Love and Gaiath were both going to ship. Obviously, that didn't happen. Love's not coming, and Gaiath was retired. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I do think we'll still have a decent showing from the Euros and the turf races, probably more so on Saturday than Friday. But I don't think there'll be any shortage of talent, so I don't think I'll be forced to bet Channel Maker Zulu Alpha.
No, you're probably gonna
Yeah,
you're probably gonna bet someone like Factor This or something. You're gonna unload on that
I
horse.
haven't looked at the race, but I've always thought very highly of Factor This, and I do like him in that spot. I mean, without looking at speed figs or anything else, I mean, I do think he's a legit Grade One turf, marathoner. But I mean, it depends on the Euros that come. I mean, can he beat a horse like Magical or uh, what's the one Aiden sending over? The other one,
Japan.
Mogul, I think it is,
Oh, Mogul.
or Japan. Yeah,
Japan's been off form most of the season, but yeah, I would say something like hammering a magical and factor this double into Tom Zeta, maybe a really nice play. It's something that I've already sort of been roughly planning out. That's the one I'm super interested in. Obviously, we're gonna have to really see how it shapes out. What the ground conditions come up. They've gotten a lot of rain in Kentucky recently. If that stays up and this stays a little soft, it might shake some things up. But
Yeah, it means you gotta move Channel Maker up.
as long as Factor This goes, Channel Maker's not getting the lead.
As previously stated, I cannot wait for these fucking horses like Arklow and Channel Maker and Zulu Alpha to all retire and to watch just the conflict and like the new like turf horses of hate for Caleb to develop. Like,
Dude,
is it like a comic book? Do they start off as friends initially before they become mortal enemies?
dude, I don't know if you've
Dude, I can
noticed
already
this.
see
I
it
don't know if you've
happening. It's going to
noticed
be
this,
like,
but
go
the list of
ahead.
horses that owe Caleb money, it just keeps on growing and growing. I mean, dude, I think Jakarta owes all of us a bunch of money. Who was the other? There's another. Who the hell is the other turf horse? There's another turf horse, Caleb, that you and I were both on, and had the lead and got like nipped at the wire and was like 15-1 or something stupid. I forgot what it was, but I mean, it seems like every week there's a new horse coming out, and you're like, I'm losing money on this horse. Who was it today? Current? You bet Current again today, didn't
Oh yeah,
you?
I bet Current
Oh
today. No,
yeah.
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
But
Oh.
I fell for Current the last like 3 races, and today I was like, no, not today, Current. And he went off like 3-1. I don't think he did any running.
7-2. Yeah, I bet Current.
Tarnawa's still coming over, right? As of now.
I believe so.
Yeah,
I
I
know
haven't
it's
seen
smarter
anything.
than
I
me.
haven't seen anything about him not coming over. I've just like I've
Her?
seen or her, excuse me. I've only seen like the past couple like the big names that got retired. Road Warrior says we got to give Channel Maker some credit. He's won 3 of the 4 biggest Naira turf races. So
And it
You
doesn't
have to
count
give
for
him
anything in
zero credit.
Caleb's heart. It
It
doesn't mean
doesn't
a
count for
goddamn
anything.
thing.
Well, Chase, he knows. Chase knows.
Yep. Yep. What have you done for me lately, Channel Maker? You son of a bitch.
yeah, so I guess my question is so kind of just looking at the classic. I know we're just kind of jumping around here, just talking through some of these races, but what odds do you think maximum security goes off at?
Second choice, probably, I don't know, 3-1.
Yeah,
I think
that's probably right. 5-2 for 5-2 over
You
3 to
really
1.
think
Yeah, I don't
max
think.
security is still going to be second choice?
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
I honestly I think he'll be the chalk. I think Max will be the chalk because he's walking into the Breeders' Cup after these consecutive. Well, wait, did Improbable beat him
Yeah,
last out?
yeah, pretty
Yeah.
convincingly too.
Then I say it's probably Improbable Max Security co-favorites 5-2 range.
Yeah, I can see that. I was thinking 5-2 over 3 to 1. Kind of what Caleb said, and then I mean, what's third choice going to be? What Tiz is probably going to be third choice.
See, I'm almost scared to say because I know Mark is an unabashed Tom Sittoff fanboy, but I also really like Tom in this race, and I keep seeing all these like lines putting him at like 10-1, and that's just like setting me up to just make a very irresponsible bet. If Tom Sittoff is in the, I don't even need 8-1. If I can get 5-1, 6-1, 8-1, I don't need 10-1.
A multi-appendage wager at that
Oh
point.
yeah, I mean that's a put the kidney on the black market bet. But yeah, I think Improbable's probably. I'm thinking he'll be shorter. I think he's going to be 2-1. I think max security's between 5-2 and 3-1. And then probably Tiz the Law in the 9-2, 5-1. Authentic probably about the same. Yeah, and then maybe Tom just a shade after that. I don't think he'll get 10-1 on Tom's TikTok, but you might get 5 or 6.
What do you think you get on somebody like By My Standards?
I think he'll be totally overlooked. I don't think he can go this far, so I'm not interested in him. But he'll probably be 15-1.
I'm looking at some odds here, right, from a offshore. All right, so these are fixed odds. They have Improbable at plus 350. So what is that? 5-2 or 7-2? I always forget. Is it 5-2 or 7-2?
That would be 7-2.
7-2,
I believe.
So that's the favorite.
3.5-1.
Yeah, so that's a favorite. Then you get Tiz the Law at plus 450, Authentic at plus 500, Swiss Skydiver at plus 500. Then you get Maximum Security at plus 650, Tom Zeta at plus 800, and then you get a bunch of shit. You get Charlatan. Who is Charlatan even gonna what? Charlatan's not gonna run in this, right?
What was it? What was Tom Zeta at?
Plus 800.
Yeah, so you should put that offshore out of business, is what it sounds like.
I don't think those odds can happen because with all those lines you just said, I don't. There's too many horses that doesn't work. It just the math doesn't seem to work out.
This is just what I'm.
I'm sure they're not using
it's
a
textbook, so yeah.
Yeah, they're not using an actual odds line summed up to 100 or 120 or whatever. Like I'm sure they're just taking action on any horse that they think might run. I mean, Charlatan, Swiss Skydiver, Charlatan for sure, and Swiss Skydiver most likely.
Charlatan's not even nominated. I mean, Swiss Skydiver probably doesn't run here. I can't imagine they run her here.
Hold on, let's keep going. Let's go. I'm looking at Bovada now, just because I'm curious. Yeah, they have Improbable at plus 400, Tiz the Law at plus 450, Max Security at plus 500, Tom Zeta at plus 800, Authentic plus 600. Yeah, like I thought Max Security would be like third or fourth choice. I think Tis the Law is going to take more money. I think Improbable will be the favorite. And my take was I think Max Security wins the classic. But
Oh boy.
that was before 6 p.m. today that I had come with that conclusion. So I don't know if I can, in good faith, continue to say.
Even before 6 p.m., it was a bad fucking
Oh
opinion.
no,
So
Yeah,
no.
your bold opinion kind of goes directly against mine, to be honest. So I should have expected Chase was just going to come out with some Baffert hate, and I would have thought of a different bold prediction. But my thought was that no California race horse is going to win a race at either day of the Breeders' Cup. There's a couple that could blow up in my face, but the most obvious one I think is Improbable. But kind of doubling down on that, my other sort of bold prediction was that Maximum Security misses the board. He is not the same horse as he was as a 3-year-old in the Service Barn. I mean, he's struggling to beat shitters like midcourt, fucking midcourt, and just like I think Improbable and not Tisla, Improbable and Tom's Data are a clear cut 1-2 or 2-1 in that race for me. And then I don't know who runs third. Maybe it's Authentic. Maybe it's by my standards, Global Campaign. I don't know. Maybe Happy Saver jumps forward, but I think Max Security probably finishes somewhere in fourth, maybe fifth. I'm going to be heavy against Max Security.
Happy Saver is a horse that, it's a very small sample size. I was really impressed against that last race, even though it was a pretty short field, and it's Tacitus. Tacitus has a problem with the winning, and I think that horse could actually make some noise. I'm just not impressed with Max and Improbable, because they've just okay. Improbable wins at Saratoga because Tom's d'Etat gets a terrible start and still nearly comes back to win, and then they go to the West Coast and they're acting like they're in a heavyweight boxing match training camp where they're just beating up on higher power like a fucking sparring partner every 3 weeks, month. It's just they aren't racing against anyone. You have no way of telling if Max Security is really the same horse at all. And Improbable's the same horse we always thought it was. Ooh, just can't wait for Improbable to draw the fucking rail at Keeneland in the BC Classic, and for us to see how that goes. I mean, the last time I checked, they still start horses out of metal gates, and Improbable's not a big fan of those. The last time I checked, I'm gonna go ahead and preemptively, give you the comment line fractious gate. That's how it's gonna read next before he races, which he won't race again because fucking Baffert.
I started scrolling through the PPs to find the California horse I think is going to win. And outside of Maximum Security or Improbable, I don't know if anybody else has got a shot.
The one I'll tell you now, the one that's going to get bet like crazy that I'm heavy against is Princess Noor in the juvenile fillies. That horse is going to take all kinds of money, and maybe she's the real deal, but she just has not run fast enough to win this race. I mean, she has beaten up on a horrible group of West Coast 2-year-olds, and I don't even care who shows up. The horses that I already know are probably going. Another Day at the Office, or wherever the horse is. Girl Daddy, the one that just won last weekend or 2 weeks ago, Simply Ravishing. Any one of those New York 2-year-olds, I think, just wiped the floor with Princess Noor. See what I did there? So yeah, I'm gonna. There really are. They have some contenders. Mo Forza is a nice turf horse. United in the turf, most likely. There's a whole bunch of filly and mares coming over in the distaff and the sprint, but I just don't think any of them will win.
I was say not to keep not to keep agreeing with Chase here or anything, but Happy Saver is another horse that I do find super interesting, just in the fact of how much horse did Arad have left in the Gold Cup when you're standing up in the irons in the
Standing
far corner,
straight up.
standing straight up. He that was a joke, and he just walked by that field in the stretch. I mean, how much horse did he have there? And you kind of
But
wonder.
not only that, but not timid in the slightest to make that move up the rail with not I believe not a whole lot of room.
The Force
Like,
had 3 starts there, and he blew through a hole up the rail like it was nothing, and looked phenomenal. That race, if you watch it, is a lot more impressive than the winning line is in it. And this is a horse you're going to get 12, 15 to 1 on.
oh, I think that's a liberal estimate. I would say actual, crap stable boxcar odds would be more like.
Excuse me, but Road Warrior said he came here to get away from the debates, so please do not use that word.
Yeah, Happy Saber is an interesting
Well,
horse.
that's handy because I have to put my kids to bed anyway. So, adios, motherfuckers.
All right, see you, Chase.
See you, Chase. Yeah, my heartburn with Happy Saber is just that I don't know how good a horse is when the best horse you beat is Tacitus. It's the same problem I have with Global Campaign. Is okay, you had a nice race on paper last time, but who did you beat? And you can say that about pretty much every race of Happy Saber's career. I mean, he has allowance race at Saratoga, listed stakes at Laurel for the Preakness, which he ended up not even running in. And then he beats Mystic Guide, who I've never thought was very good, and Tacitus, who I've always known is not very good. It's a tough call for me, and he's the kind of 3-year-old that hasn't gotten near his ceiling yet. But it's also the kind of horse that he's undefeated. It's Todd Pletcher. I mean, maybe Irad comes in for this horse, and there's a price where that horse makes sense, and there's a price where he doesn't. Double digits, yeah, sure. 8-1, 6-1, like that's way too short for me. I don't know what he goes off at ultimately. If you get 15-1, that might be fair. But if just in terms of picking the winners, I just don't know that he's beaten anything of substance in those 4 races.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm more interested in him because I like horses that like getting their photo taken, and he apparently does that because he's 4 for 4 lifetime. So, if you're looking for that horse that still has that upside potential, he's your horse. And he's interesting. Maybe he doesn't win underneath in the try or something. Maybe.
Yeah, I was actually waiting for there was a couple of things. So I was thinking about what Caleb was gonna have for his prediction. So the first one I thought he was actually gonna finally be on Channel Maker this time around, but that was wrong. And then I started thinking about it a little bit more. I thought you were gonna say that Global Campaign is gonna win the BC Classic, because I know how much you love that horse. I thought that was gonna be your next move after that Woodward win, but. I think you could probably say the same thing for Global Campaign as Happy Saver. He beat Tacitus, so I mean, does that really mean?
Yeah,
really
it's the same knock for sure.
Is Tacitus
no, it's the exact same
listed
argument,
too?
and I love Global Campaign, but it's a tough horse to back because every time I back him, I'm on the wrong side of him. Like literally, I think every time since his Peter Pan, I think it's the last time I cashed on that horse, and I've probably bet him or bet against him in every race since. Just have always been on the wrong side. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what to do with him here. I mean, he kind of got away with murder on the front end last time. He beat Tacitus of all horses. Like, there's a price where he makes sense, and it's got to be probably north of 15-1.
Yeah. The one race that I'm a little bit head scratching at is I always am looking for that, European turf miler, and I don't see that horse. I don't think Safe Voyage is that good. Where's the European shipping in to steal the turf mile? Well, I should say the mile.
Dude, I make that mistake all the time. Is that the Kameko race?
Yeah, Kameko.
Mm-hmm.
Or
That's
did you say
probably
Kameko?
the Euro. Yeah, I'm thinking Kameko or Siskin are probably the Euros that if they come are the ones that are going to be the biggest threats.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to make of Champions Ulysses either. So, I mean, that horse apparently really likes to win. I'll need to watch some back races there.
I don't
Yeah,
think
no,
you're even close with
speaking
that
of
pronunciation, FYI.
What was that?
Oof. I said I don't think you're even close with that pronunciation, but.
Well, it looks like a play on Champs-Élysées, but it's kind of like a poke fun at it play, right?
Maybe. Yeah. Champers, maybe.
my other, kind of leads into this a little bit. Bold prediction I was toying around with is that I don't think Chad Brown wins a race all Breeders' Cup.
I disagree. I think Fluffy Socks is very live.
She's in the juvenile turf.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
also
think.
maybe Uni or something like.
I mean, I'm very high on Campanelle, just right off the bat. And then, yeah, I'm not very. Chad's older turf runners have not really shown up this year. I mean, he doesn't even have a horse in the Breeders' Cup Turf. They're all kind of milers, as it turns out. And, honestly, the one that keeps winning, despite me not liking it, is Digital Age. And I don't think that horse is very good, but that horse somehow keeps winning.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't think Chad gets a win. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me completely if he does, but I don't think he gets a win with any of his high-profile horses. Maybe that's a better way to put it. But for the sake of a bold prediction, I'll say I don't think he gets a win at all.
So is Factor This going to the mile, or is Factor This going to the
I think a lot of these we don't know yet.
Interesting.
Yeah, these are all just like probables or contenders, but
Yeah.
in Factor This got a mile and a quarter. So if you get a mile and a quarter, you usually can get a mile. I mean, there's a lot of stamina on the bottom of that pedigree. I would tend to think, Cox is going to take a wait and see approach because there is a very good chance, depending on who shows up and who goes where, the mile might be a saltier race than the actual Breeders' Cup Turf itself. And if that's the case, then I would not be surprised to see Factor This go to the turf, especially if he projects to be controlling speed and won't have any pace pressure to deal with.
All right, I'm gonna come quick at you guys with a couple of questions or opinions. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. We're gonna go kind of rapid fire. Is the most likely winner on Saturday Monomoy Girl?
Yes.
I'm gonna say no.
No.
And
Okay.
I would like to give a reason why,
Okay,
other than the
yeah.
fact
Who
that
do you think?
I
the
like
most...
Swiss Skydiver almost as much.
Interesting.
I would say the most likely winner could be. I haven't fully capped the card, have one, but I would probably Serengeti Empress.
In the
That's a fairly bold prediction.
in the Philly Mare Sprint, huh? Interesting.
Or maybe
So
Vekoma in wherever he ends up going.
he's got to go to the dirt mile, right?
He's
I
probably
don't
the
know.
favorite if he goes to the sprint.
He's probably the favorite in either, truth be told. But
all right. Do you guys think an American horse wins the Philly Mare Turf?
I'm going to say no, but it'll be close. I think it's too far for Rushing Fall, and I think she's the American's best shot. Sister Charlie's not been the same horse. I would actually be probably most interested in like a Mean Mary or a Civil Union, honestly.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no as well. At Rushing Fall, I don't. Every time I doubt her, she wins, so she probably wins this going away. But yeah, I'm just gonna say no.
Yeah, that was a tough one. Like when I was looking at that field, I'm like, I'm not very well versed in like the Euros. So when I hear like there are names that obviously you recognize like Magical or like a Japan or that are still in the race. That is Enable, that kind of stuff. But I didn't really recognize any of the names coming across for this. But when I look at uh the older female turf division, you got a couple people on the wrong side of the wrong side of form. You got Rushing Fall stretching out a little bit, uh, and you got some younger horses that were still kind of developing. Like maybe next year a horse like maybe like Harvey's Lagoyle, with another year on her, maybe would be more of an interesting pick here. Um, but yeah, it's right, at least at the probables, it looks about 50-50, and I don't know. I'm not like you said. I think Rushing Fall's probably the best out of these horses, and I don't know what is coming over from Europe, but I mean,
It's
Russian.
also going to really depend where Tarnoa lands too. If she lands in the Philly mare, then I think she's a very deserving favorite. If she doesn't, it makes it a little more open ended. And I mean, Starship Jubilee is hella impressive at a mile. So
Yeah, I would say Tanarwa is definitely the horse to beat. And if she does go to the turf instead of the Philly mare turf, I still think Cayenne Pepper is a horse I would take over any of the Americans.
Yeah, I mean, like I think, like you were saying earlier, Caleb. I think all of the best older turf horses seem to be milers. Like Uni, and Starship Jubilee. I think is probably best at a mile. Um, I was gonna say God Stormy, but God Stormy's probably gonna go to the sprint, right? Or that's where
I would think so. I think she's a player in the sprint. I think she's a toss out in this race,
um,
and then she'd be a toss out in the mile as well. I think.
speaking of the sprint, I didn't even look at it yet.
the
The
sprint, I just don't know what to make of. It's a weird race.
I like his question, Sean. These are solid.
Yeah,
What you talking regular sprint or the Philly mare sprint
I was looking at the
or the turf
regular
sprint?
sprint, the regular sprint. But like I said, I haven't. I looked at these PPs and I went through and I just forgot what order all this stuff is in. So I'm just like freaking scrolling through. The turf sprint's actually really interesting to me because you got Stormy, and then you got a bunch of horses with a lot of question marks, and then you got Alexandra. So I feel like you got like two, and then I don't know anything about the three or possibles that are entered, um, but yeah, it's this is actually gonna be it should be a fun race, and I think it's gonna be pretty wide open. Um, but I'm guessing that those are gonna be the two horses that take the most money, Alexandra and Got Stormy. Jody thinks that God Stormy will win. I think God Stormy's a player, but Alexandra might be is probably the best turf sprinter in the country, right?
I
I
would
mean,
have to
most
say
of
so,
the
yeah.
early offshore odds I've seen, I mean, I haven't checked recently. They're making like Leinster and Imprimis, and then got Stormy kind of your top three. I think
Are
Alexandra
you making the line,
more
Caleb?
like fourth or fifth pick from what I've been seeing. I mean, I haven't looked at it in the last week or two, but it seems to be the horse that's kind of getting forgotten about just because of I think maybe the recency factors. She hasn't been out in a while. She's a 6-year-old mare. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm obviously like very interested in Alexandra, but I'm not really sure that I would want her at 3-1 in this field.
I just find it funny that
I
like
mean, obviously, me with Imprimis, but
The other thing with
yeah,
Alexandra,
you just started
speaking of
naming
horse,
horses that you liked, Caleb. I thought that's what you were doing. You were just like, oh, Imprimis, what was Leinster, and who's
so
the other turf sprinter that you really like?
with Alexandra's run style though, doesn't 5.5 sort of
you know,
compromise her in here? Doesn't she really want 6? That's my only issue, my only rub with her, because they do run 5.5.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that at least oh, there okay, we lost Caleb.
Oh,
Caleb must have froze up. There he is. Oh, he looks really stoic.
looks frustrated.
Oh. Anyways, I don't know. I don't think that. I mean, I think it might be a little sharp distance wise for her, but I mean, I think like I said, I just think she's the best turf sprinter in the country, and on top of that, um, you know, this isn't we're not on the West Coast. We're in Keeneland, which has tended to be a little bit more fair. We might not just see all speed in that race, but
Yeah, agreed.
I see. I'm looking at the sprint, and I already see it, and I see a horse that's near and dear to your heart, Mark.
Oh no.
There's a horse that I think both of us stood to make a ton of money on.
Which horse might that be? Because there's a list.
The 13, Matera Sky. Do you remember that?
I don't remember. Where was that?
The Saudi Cup Sprint. Do you not remember
Oh
Bateri
yeah, I do
Sky on the
remember
front
that.
end the
Yeah,
entire way?
on the front, they get nailed late.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
like at some huge odds. I forgot what it was, but we got robbed that day.
Yeah, I mean, the sprint's interesting to me because when I look at it, I mean, my gut kind of says just bet Yupon single and walk away. Just because that horse has just been a freak. And nobody's been even close. I get it. There are questions that haven't been answered here. But, I mean, obviously going versus older for the first time, but, he has that sort of, and I'm going to get beat up for saying that sort of run happy sort of vibe horse that did real well versus versus his own company, and then they put him out versus open and just at the Breeders' Cup and did very well there. Obviously, probably the last race we ever get to see Whitmore in. I'll have a sentimental attachment there. He hasn't. He's been good, but not his normal Whitmore self the last three. Maybe the little bit of a break helps him there. But I think this race is, the sprint is just interesting. There's a lot of different ways you can go. And obviously the sprint's always like this. There's always feels like there's, 10 different options that you can make a good case for.
Yeah, the sprint is super interesting. And yeah, I mean, with
I, get- I,
go ahead.
I was gonna say it does depend who lands here versus who goes to the mile. Vekoma comes here, different race entirely. We have to have a very different conversation. I assume Vekova goes to the mile because that's from a sire standpoint. That's money.
Yeah, but like I guess like my question is like okay, we have Yaupan who's won won his first four races here, but you know I mean now you got this other freaking monster that as Steve Asmussen came out with Nashville. I mean, does Nashville show up here? Does Nashville even get in? I'm not even sure.
I don't think. Well, technically, they would have to supplement him in, and I don't think this is a win and you're in only race. So I think he can be either supplemented or however they do it, whatever they refer to it as for the Breeders' Cup. He is apparently he's on the an entries list, so he's a potential. Um, and I mean, his last race was freakish, and and I think everybody sort of expected it, but there was a lot of hype there, and he was bet like he was a sure thing. He's been bet like he was a sure thing both starts, but it'll be interesting to see where they do stick him.
Yeah, I think this might be the spot that Caleb's prediction might be most vulnerable because I think CZ Rocket is probably actually got a legit shot in this race. Um, but I don't know. I think CZ Rocket probably would. Well, I mean, CZ Rocket's done is 2 for 2 at Keeneland, and has done okay at the distance. I do think that maybe CZ Rocket probably prefers a little bit extra ground, but that could just be because he does his best running from slightly off the pace. So I don't know. But I think CZ Rocket's interesting in here. Probably will be what fourth or fifth choice in this race.
Yeah, and I think another horse we haven't mentioned here is Frenzy Fire, which he on his good day when he brings his A game, he fits with some of the top in here. There's he's not that far off from it. He's sort of the old man in the group, and he's also again this tends to be a very wide open type of race, and he's a potential player in here as well.
Yeah. So just looking. So Jody really likes a couple of horses in a couple of races here. Taranwa, which is from.
Yeah, that'll be Toronto will be the one depending on where they go. I think if she goes filly and mare, she's going to be a very even money probably, maybe even shorter. Wouldn't surprise me. If she goes into the open, in the open turf, I still like her quite a bit. Horses coming out of the Opera tend to come ship real well and do very well in the Breeders' Cup races. Stormy, oh man, I sentimentally yes, but oh boy, and Emro, you mentioned the Geneva Phillies turf. That was a horse that I didn't mention earlier, but that is a horse I very much do like in the juvenile filly turf as well.
Yeah, yeah, I think the race I'm most excited for is the turf sprint. As at least as far as like wide open betting affair. I mean, I think you're gonna have those two short price horses, but then like you're gonna even have a horse like four wheel drive, who I mean ran a clunker last time out at Churchill, but I mean it did nothing wrong in his 2-year-old season. Um, obviously we have the favorites and got Stormy and Alexandra, but then we have Imprimis and Kamari coming back as well, Leinster. So I think it's going to be a good race.
Yeah. And I was hoping they would somehow find a way of supplementing Bound for Nowhere into the turf sprint, but I don't see it. So probably never gonna get to see him again, which really sucks.
Who?
Bound for Nowhere.
Uh
Horse I have a soft spot for that everybody's like, who's that horse? Because he hasn't run in like a year.
yeah, is that
He was entered about 3 times this
the
summer, scratched.
he ran the Shaker Town, right?
Yeah, well, he was supposed to run the Shaker Town. They scratched him out of that. He was supposed to run at Kentucky Downs in the turf sprint there. They scratched him out of that. They scratched him out of a turf sprint, one of the ones at Saratoga as well. I don't know what's on. He's older. He doesn't never ran a lot. Always had issues, but when he's sort of right, he's extremely talented.
Yeah. All right, Mark. Well, I think that's going to do it for us. I mean, we just kind of wanted to, we wanted to test out our new setup, and apparently that failed miserably. So we're back to the drawing board on that. I think we might stick with what we've been doing here. And then it looks like Caleb had some connection issues. I know he's at his parents this week, and we kind of just threw this together kind of last minute. But well, good luck this weekend, Mark. I know you're gonna be going after those BC seats again. And I'll probably mostly focused on Belmont, I think, this weekend. I didn't really see much at Keeneland I was really interested in, and Keeneland's kind of been kicking my ass. So
I've been doing well at Keeneland personally, but it's been tough. There's been some pretty pronounced bias. If you're playing Keeneland, outside drawn speed at 6 and 6.5 has been really really solid. And seeing it's been kind of a wonky track, but it's been very playable. But the thing that sucks with Keeneland is they're only running one turf race a day through the last day of the meet, trying to keep the turf intact. They got like 2.5 inches or 2.5 inches on Monday and an inch of rain on Tuesday or something crazy. They got a ton of rain. So that sort of sucks. Hopefully, they're going to keep it nice for Breeders' Cup, which is a couple weeks out, so they have a few weeks to fix it. And yeah, then we'll see. I'll be probably chasing a little bit of everything, trying to get BC qualified or BC qualified, and yeah, obviously the Saturday Belmont card is good if you're in a New York State, NYRA stakes racing, and Keeneland is a little bit light. It's definitely, I think the feature is an allowance, so not the end of the world, but not what you want this time of year.
did you figure out what was
You
going
guys
on,
hearing me?
Caleb?
Am I back?
Yeah, what happened?
I don't know. Randomly, Discord muted all of my sound, like when I would be connected to this call. Like even like I couldn't even listen to like the YouTube stream or anything. So yeah, I don't know what was going on. Apparently it was. I mean, I'm using my earbuds instead of my normal setup since I'm not home, and yeah, it was registering the earbuds as a headset and as a output device, and like switching to the one that wasn't active, I guess, and
Yeah.
kind of getting mixed up.
Yeah, your mic's been cutting in and out like a little bit here and there, and so it was just kind of like I don't know if like it's just a Bluetooth connection between your earbuds and the thing, but
Probably is, yeah.
Yeah, so we were just wrapping up. One last thing, it looks like Jody's asking about Mr. Freeze, but
Oh my god.
in that Breeders' Cup Mile, I actually I'm going
He
back.
he won't be there.
No, where's he gonna run?
He's running this weekend at Belmont.
Mr. Freeze?
Oh, wait a second. No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of the wrong horse. My bad.
I think Mr. Buff.
I'm thinking of Mr. Buff. Sorry.
Yeah.
I want nothing to do with Mr. Freeze. I mean, somehow he won last time. I don't understand it. But yeah, I don't want anything to do with Mr. Freeze.
One is the favorite too, and we were all on Aurelius Maximus too, weren't we? At a much better price. Oh God, stupid horse.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I know you probably had that blocked out. In that race, I actually really like Nixco, and I'm going back to that Nixco
Dude,
well.
is the dirt mile really? I mean, it really is kind of like the Derby washouts, right? I mean, you have like complexity. You got Knicks Go. You got. I guess Mr.
Jesus'
Freeze isn't.
team or Jesus's team or
Yeah, I
my
mean,
Chase's favorite.
Jesus's team. Who else is in there? I can't find it on my forum. There's like a million fucking pages on these PPs. What race is it?
It's race 3,
Okay.
Bodie Express.
Yeah, Bodie Express. That's another one. Yeah, it's all the Derby washouts. War of Will. I mean,
I'm surprised. I'm surprised they put Warville back on the dirt.
I am too, to be honest. Yeah, Art Collector.
Art
Yeah, I mean, all the
Collector,
Derby washouts.
Pony Express. I mean, there's a list.
Yeah, interesting. That's gonna be I don't know. That's like the race that has no point, right? Like nobody like really like there's not really there's not really like a lot of like win in your ins that point to it. I don't know.
It's not really a sire maker. If you want to be a miler, you go win you won the Met Mile. God, my brain just stopped for a
Yeah.
second. You know, it's sort of the purse isn't big enough to really make people target it. It's just sort of
Like this is gonna sound stupid because I'm sure there is like we know there's a difference, but like what if they just split up the turf into two different, or not the turf, the sprint into two different distances, like a 6 furlong and a 7 furlong?
You'd have to have a track where you could do it. Now, Keeneland is one where you could, but not all. Well, yeah, I guess most tracks you could do that.
Because then it'd always be a 1 turn race, and
I guess like, but I mean, my thing is, I'm one of the few people that like the dirt mile. I think
I do too. I love the dirt mile. I think it's a
because I
great.
think that there aren't many classic distance horses left. It's not something that most horses want to do.
who won the dirt mile
Uh,
last year?
what's that?
Who won the dirt mile last year?
Spun to Run. Spun to Run beat. Was it Omaha Beach? I think.
Spun to Run, yeah.
I don't remember that race at all.
Yeah, I went to the front and never looked back. But yeah, I mean, I have nothing wrong with 2 turn miles. I don't care if it's a 1 turn mile, but like I think a mile's a good distance that hits a lot of horses that don't want to go 6 furlongs, but also don't want to go a mile and a quarter. Like there's a lot of nice horses that want to be between 7 and 9 furlongs, and I think it's nice that they actually have somewhere to run the Breeders' Cup.
Why not make a 9 furlong race then?
I would be okay with it being a 9 furlong race. That doesn't bother me.
Like I
I'm
said,
just saying I don't want. I guess I was arguing more against having 2 iterations of the sprint.
a 6
Yeah,
and a 7 furlong.
I mean, sometimes a sprint is 7 furlongs. It just depends on the track.
Oh well, I mean, like I guess I was just more like I mean this like 2 turn mile, like I don't know, because it's a 2 turn mile at Keeneland, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the
there's no, like,
mile's a weird one at Keeneland.
Well, they read at Del Mar. It's a 2 turn mile at Del Mar as well, right?
Yeah, but Del Mar can do
Yes.
nothing wrong.
I mean, Keeneland they don't really run mile races at Keeneland. Very rare. Because the track is a mile and a 16th in circumference. So an actual mile race, you pretty much start in the first turn. It's a very, very short run to that first turn.
Why wouldn't they run it? Why wouldn't they use the early? I mean, they have 2 finish lines. Why not use the other finish line?
They start at the second finish line and they finish at the first finish line.
For a mile, they do? Okay.
Yeah. Because, like I said, it's a mile and a 16th all the way around. So you can't start at the standard finish line, the first finish line. Otherwise, you're going to finish in the third.
I just can't believe they're running War of Will in the dirt again. I mean, like didn't like embarrass himself in any of the three turf G1s he ran in. Like,
I mean, objectively, I think they're thinking stallion value at this point. He's a grade 1 winner on 2 surfaces. I mean, they got what they wanted out of this horse. The odds of him doing something is probably better in this race than it is in the actual Breeders' Cup, turf mile, or whatever you want to call it, the Breeders' Cup mile. So, I mean, that's going to be a stacked field. War of Will is probably not going to beat any of the Euros. He might not even be able to beat some of the other domestic horses that end up going there. Whereas in the dirt mile, especially if Vekoma ends up going to the sprint, I mean, all of a sudden this field is pretty open. I mean, you have a bunch of has-beens and then a bunch of burnouts from their Derby Trail last year. So I don't know that I like his chances to win, but he could probably get second or third. Would not be that surprising.
Art collectors in
What?
this race.
Yeah, I'm actually super against Art Collector purely because he's in this race. I don't think he doesn't seem like a distance compromised horse to me. I just think he's not as good. I mean, he raced against real horses in the Preakness and didn't back it up.
If Vekoma doesn't show up to this race, I think I'm going to be very interested in Nixco and Rushy. I think those are going to be my two
I
horses
like
in this
that.
race.
I like both of those. I like Rushy either way. And with Novacoma, I think Nixco is it's interesting. It's hard to go from an allowance to a grade 1, but
All right, I think we talked the dirt mile to death here. But yeah, we're on the wrong lead. Jody likes complexity. Oh, and yeah, and the Korean horse ran well too, right? Who was the Korean horse last year in that dirt mile?
What's his name?
We were both on him too. There, these freaking Korean horses, dude, just freaking costing us money.
Blue Chipper.
Yes, Blue Chip or that one.
Oh my god.
I think Mark actually was on that horse, if I remember.
I was very
we're
on
talking
that
about
horse.
Matera Sky right now. How Mark and I were both on Matera Sky in Saudi, and he got nipped at the wire, and like he was at like some huge price. Oh, that was tough. But yeah, we'll be around in Discord. Catch us on Twitter at wrong_lead. Caleb's at CalebWVU. Mark's at 2_turns. I'm at Cherry Drank. And yeah, we'll see you guys around.